The 2017 Toyota 86. Now, many of you probably already know this used to be called the Scion FR-S, but here's the problem with that. Scion as a brand is dead, but yet the FR-S lives on as now the Toyota 86. I'm Jay, and welcome to CarBuzz Unboxing Reviews. So, what was supposed to be the mid-life refresh for the Scion FR-S has now become the Toyota 86. Scion used to be Toyota's so-called youth-oriented brand, but the whole experiment didn't work out, and really the only car that was interesting, or at least modern model that Scion offered that was interesting, was the FR-S, and Toyota decided to, let's just continue it on. And overseas, the Scion FR-S was already called the Toyota GT86, but for some reason, for the US market rebrand, they just decided to go with 86 as opposed to GT86. But whatever, this is the same car. It is still the corporate twin of the Subaru BRZ. And as you can see inside and out, I'll talk more details about it throughout the review. Things are relatively the same, but there are a few updates. But before we go any further, let's start off the engine so that you can listen to that. Alright, so that was the sound of the 2-liter flat-4 or boxer engine with 205 horsepower at 7,000 RPM and 156 pound-feet of torque at 6,400 RPM. Power goes to the rear wheels through either a 6-speed manual or a 6-speed automatic, the latter of which costs an extra $720. My advice, stick with the stick. It's a little cheaper and it's more fun to drive. Now looking at this exterior here, as you can see, the front grille and front bumper design, it's new. That's not a big deal. It's a lower and wider intake grille, and the LED headlights and taillights are also new. You have these 10-spoke, 17-inch aluminum wheels wrapped in summer tire. It's a new wheel design as well. And the automatic high-beam LED headlights, LED taillights, they're a nice design. I like them. I'm glad Toyota and Subaru as well added them to these nice little lightweight sports coupes. There's also an updated rear diffuser design as well. You'll see that in just a moment. But otherwise, this is still, relatively speaking, the exact same car as the Scion FR-S was. The Subaru BRZ, just for the record, it also has undergone a midlife refresh with changes very similar to this, but I'll tell you a difference about it in just a moment here. But perhaps the most interesting difference, I think, for people who are into performance is that power is actually up a little bit for 2017 for both cars. Get this, an additional 5 horsepower and 5 pound-feet of torque. That's it. That is the power increase, and it's barely noticeable, but I'll take it. And for the record, I've spoken to Subaru about this in regards to the BRZ. There will not be a factory built turbocharged or supercharged version of either of these cars. If you want to do something like that, not a problem. You're going to have to do it aftermarket. Now this one is called, where the exterior color is actually called a blaze, which I don't know about you, it's red. And I think the overall design has done well over the past few years. I think it's aged quite nicely. But one of the criticisms I did have of it when I did the unboxing review of the Scion FR-S is that this rear trunk, it's just a conventional trunk opening as opposed to having, say, like a liftback design that you see on the, Aston Martin Vantage, for an example. I would have liked to have seen a rear liftback as opposed to a conventional trunk in this car. I just think it would have been a lot cooler. You also can see this has the right to the right of the front wheel, the 86 badge there. Now, why didn't Toyota call this the GT86 in the US? Good question, and the answer is I honestly don't know. They just opted to call it the 86. And in terms of performance here by this 2-liter flat-4 boxer engine, It's not particularly fast, but again, that's not the point of this car. 0 to 60 miles per hour happens in 6.2 seconds. Top speed is about 134 miles per hour. Fuel economy, 21 miles per gallon in the city, 28 on the highway, and a combined 24. The total weight of the vehicle is just over 2,700 pounds. And just to compare, the Mazda MX-5 Miata weighs just over 2,200 pounds. So this is a little bit heavier, but you got to remember it's a little bit bigger, and it also has a rear seat as opposed to the MX-5 Miata just being a pure two-seater. And when you step inside, yeah, this is the only interior color you can get on the 2017 Toyota 86. Black fabric, you can't get leather, and I think that's just fine. It keeps the cost down. You also see there's a new steering wheel design with the 86 logo stamped right in the middle of it. Now, Toyota has also upgraded the interior very slightly with a material called Granulux that adorns the dash and the door panels, and it's basically like a vinyl fake suede type material, and yeah, it's pretty nice. Here's those rear seats, as tiny as ever. But what's kind of good about them is that, yes, they can be used for some storage, but by having a couple of rear seats, it also reduces insurance prices for you. So it's a little something extra. And as you can see, that Granulux material covering the dashboard there. And then what I still like about this interior, ever since this car first came out, it's a no-nonsense interior design. It's very straightforward. What you see is what you get. Nothing here is fancy schmancy or anything like that. If you look at the interior, say, of the new Mazda MX-5 Miata, that is actually really quite premium. As opposed to, looking at this, again, it does everything it's supposed to do, and that's it. You have your manual gearbox right there. And this is a nice stick shift. Let me tell you, it's a nice, quick, short throws. It's easy to use. If you want to learn how to drive a stick, actually, this is not a bad car to learn on. Now, this, again, is the 7-inch touchscreen display with a Pioneer audio system with an AM/FM HD radio and 8 speakers. It's not the best touchscreen out there by any means. There's some that are much, much better. In fact, most of them are. But the reason why I think Toyota and Subaru are sticking with such a basic system, again, is to keep costs down. They still want this to be an affordable sports coupe, and that's exactly what it still remains. So you're going to have to give up a few things if you wanted to keep it below, say, about $30,000. I'll get to pricing in a few more minutes, but it's one of those trade-offs, and you're just going to have to live with it. And again, if you want to upgrade the system with an aftermarket unit, not a problem. But again, something about the Toyota 86 and BRZ that you got to remember is that they're driver's cars. It's all about driving. So I think people who are going to buy this car, they're going to really sort of not care as much that this car is lacking some of the creature comfort in terms of technology features. Like this, for example, you just have a basic heating and air conditioning system. No, it's just single zone climate control, nothing dual zone or whatever. Again, it's to keep costs down. Some basic safety features you get with this is you have four-wheel ABS disc brakes, stability control, traction control, driver and front passenger airbags, seat mount and side airbags, side curtain airbags, a backup camera, and a tire pressure monitoring system. So how does it drive? Okay, well, compared to last year's FR-S, this updated 86's front springs and dampers are a bit stiffer, and the rear units are now a bit softer. And unfortunately, it doesn't offer this the same performance package. Rather, it is being Toyota as Subaru offers on the BRZ. And for an extra $1,195 on the Subaru BRZ, you can get upgraded dampers, bigger brakes with Brembo calipers, and slightly wider wheels, which is, I think that alone might be a reason why some people might choose the Subaru BRZ over the Toyota 86 here, because, yeah, you just can't get that $1,200 package on this car, and I think that's sort of a shame. But hill start assist is now standard for 2017 on the Toyota 86, as well as a Torsen limited slip differential that was carried over from the FR-S. All right, so let's talk some base competition here. Well, of course, you have the Subaru BRZ. Its front end and rear end are very similar, but I kind of actually prefer the front end styling, which was also slightly updated for 2017 on the BRZ over what you see on the Toyota 86 here. There's also a Mazda MX-5 Miata and the Fiat 124 Spider, which is the Miata's twin with a different engine, of course. I've done unboxing reviews of both of those cars. I encourage you to check them out. So pricing here, well, the 2017 Toyota 86 has a base price of $26,255. Now, our tester only has the $865 destination fee, so grand total for this car is $27,120, which is, that's very, very reasonable here. Now, there's a few extra accessories you can tack on to your Toyota 86 if you choose. For an example, there is a rear spoiler that costs around $300, but then again, it comes standard on the Subaru BRZ. So I would like to see a little more or a few more standard features on the Toyota 86. But again, it's hard to beat that $27,000 all-in price of this car right here. And in terms of driving, this is just wicked fun to drive. You got to remember, when this car was being engineered, its chassis and everything, at the time, the benchmark was the previous generation Porsche Cayman and Porsche Boxster. And so in many ways, this is still the poor man's Porsche Cayman. See what I mean with this rear trunk here? I don't know why they went with this conventional design. It should have been a rear liftback. That would have been so much cooler. You have 7 cubic feet of cargo space here. The rear seats fold flat. So this can be a pretty good daily driver if you wanted it to be. Okay, so some things that I do like about this. Well, it's got excellent and driving and handling abilities. And again, it's just a lot of fun to drive. There's a lot of value here. It's a very well-tuned chassis, just like before. And I just love the fact that it's a back-to-basics, rear-wheel drive sports coupe. Now, what don't I like? Again, it's just not powerful enough, and it doesn't offer that performance package like the Subaru BRZ does. And the exterior and interior updates, in my opinion, they're barely noticeable compared to the last year's Scion FR-S. And as you saw here, that touchscreen inside, it's just out of date. So you have it, but don't expect much from it. And as I mentioned before, like features such as like a rear deck spoiler that's like $300 or $400 extra, but standard on the BRZ. I want there to be more standard features on the Toyota 86 than what is currently offered. And above all, and this is where I think they could have done a little bit more for this midlife update, this car is still not quite as fun to drive as the latest Miata is. That's just my opinion, because I've driven them both, and I had more fun driving the Mazda MX-5 Miata than this, and I think Toyota and Subaru could have done a little bit more to improve the driving dynamics for 2017. Which begs the question, is there going to be a next generation Toyota 86 and Subaru BRZ? That's a good question. Neither company is confirming anything right now. We do know that Toyota is putting the finishing touches on the next generation Toyota Supra, which is a joint project with BMW, who's developing the new Z5, we believe it'll be called. So it's nice to see that Toyota is getting back into the sports car business, but the Scion FR-S and the Subaru BRZ, neither one of them really became the big sellers that both those automakers were hoping for them to be. It's not that they didn't sell, they just didn't quite meet expectations. So on the one hand, it's good to see that this car is still around. It got the midlife update. But the question is, well, is there a future for it? And we'll know in a couple more years' time. And also, for the record, there will not be a Toyota 86 or Subaru BRZ convertible. This coupe, it is what it is, and a coupe only. But I'm out of time for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. Any more questions for me? Leave them in the comments below.